Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ifoma. So in today's tutorial we are going to be drafting out a basic block. So if this looks like what you're interested in, keep watching. So to begin drafting this pattern, this is our paper, and if you are drafting directly on your fabric, you are going to have this unfold. So this is for the front. We are going to start drafting the front, and to draft this pattern we need our horizontal lines, need our bust point, our waistline, and of course the length of the top you are making. So I will leave mine as the full length of this paper. Okay, so I'm going to take this measurement again so as to get a straight line. So I'm going to connect these dots. So when we are done with this, the next thing we are going to do is to take our neck measurements. Okay, so this is just a basic body, so we are going to go with 3, and then we'll go with 3 for the width also. So 3 for the depth and 3 for the width, and I'm just going to connect this with my curve. So if you don't have a curve, you can actually do this with your free hand. So after we've done that, the next thing we're going to do is to input our shoulder measurements. We're going to input our shoulder measurement divided by 2, and at that point we're going to come down by 1 inch by our shoulder slope. Okay, so when we've gotten that, we are going to connect this shoulder slope to our neck point like this. Okay, then we're going to come down from this shoulder slope by our armhole measurement, and to get our armhole measurement we're going to divide our bust measurement by 6, and we're going to add 1.5. okay, so when I've done that for mine, this is what I have, and then I'm going to connect this line with a straight line. Okay, so this is going to be our chest line. So this is our chest line, our bust point, our waistline, and then our hip line, which is not really our hip line but the length of the top we are making with this pattern. Okay, so having done that, we are going to input this same measurement we have here also, in order to get a straight line. Okay, and I'm going to connect this line, these dots with a straight line. So having done this, we are going to get our shoulder slope, and to do that we are going to divide this line by 2. Okay, we are going to measure this line, divide it by 2. Anything we get, we are going to put it in the center, and then we come in by 0.5 inch. Okay, so when we have done that, the next thing we are going to do is to divide our bust measurement by 4. That is to start imputing our normal body measurement. Okay, so our bust circumference divided by 4 plus, okay, we're just going to put our bust measurement divided by 4 on this line. Okay, so you're going to add something if you are cutting it on the fabric as your sewing allowance, but we don't want to add any allowance to this pattern, so we're just going to put our bust measurement divided by 4 here. Okay, this is what we have, and then from here we are going to connect this point, and this point together using our curve. You can definitely do this with your free hand if you don't have a curve. We are going to take our dart. To get our dart, we are going to take our nipple to nipple measurement, right? We are going to take our nipple to nipple measurement, and we are going to divide it by 2. Okay, so mine here is 4. I'm going to place that on the bust line, on the waistline, on the hip line, and I'm going to connect this with a straight line. So having done that, we are going to go ahead to take our darts. Okay, so to take our darts, we are going to go in and out of the waistline by 0.5 inches. That is half of an inch, and then we are going to connect this to the bust line. Also on the waistline, we are going to come up by 1 inch or 2 inch or 3 inch depending on the length of your top. So for this length of my top, which is 26, I'm going to come up by 2 inch, and from that 2 inch I'm going to connect the dart to the waistline. So having done that, the next thing we are going to do is to input our normal body measurement, and on the waistline I'm going to divide my measurement by 4 as well, and I'm going to input that measurement. Then also on the waistline I'm going to put this dart. I'm going to add whatever we have here in the middle of this dart. So you're going to add it back on this place so you don't short your measurements after sewing, right? So you can decide to add the sewing allowance, like I said. You can decide to leave it like this. And on the hip, on the hem of the clothes, we are going to take our hip measurement. We're also going to divide it by 4 as usual, and we are going to put the measurement there. Okay, so when we have gotten this, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect all these dots. You can use your curve, you can use your ruler, anything you have. Okay, so when we have gotten this, the next thing we are going to do is to put our bust dart, our side dart. Okay, so to put our side dart, we are going to minus the measurement you have from your shoulder to the waist for the front, from the measurement you have from your shoulder to the waist for the back. Okay, that means if your shoulder to the waist for the front is 16 inches, like mine is 18 inches, and for the back my shoulder to waist is 16 inches. Okay, so 18 minus 16 is going to give us 2 inches, right? So that means our dart for the side dart is going to be 2 inches wide. Okay, so I'm going to place the 2 inches here. I'm going to place my tape here and mark the 2 inches. Okay, so like this, I'm going to connect these 2 inches to my bust point. So this is how to take your side dart. Okay, so having gotten this is all for this pattern drafting. So what I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut this out, and then we cut the back. Right, so when we get to this dart, we are going to divide this dart by 2, whatever we have here. So this is the center of this dart. We are going to connect this with a straight line, and then we are going to try to fold that part. We are going to try to fold away that dart. So I'm just going to mark this line like this. Okay, so that when I open it up, I'm going to trace whatever I have. Okay, so this is the center. This is how we are going to be cutting out this part, so that when we take our dart, we are still going to have an equal fabric. I hope you understand. So that was supposed to be done with your tracing wheel, but since I don't have, I'm going to do it like this. So when we are done taking our dart and open it up, we are still going to have a straight line, and then we can now trim this place off. Okay, so this is all for the front of this, and then we are going to go ahead and draft the back. So for the back, we are also going to go ahead and input our body measurements. We're going to put our bust line, which will be the same thing for both front and back, and then the half length of our back is 16 inches instead of the 18 inches we used for the front. So we're going to mark 16 inches. So I'm going to repeat this measurement here, so I'll get a straight line when connecting the dots. Okay, so this is one of the difference between the front and the back bodies. Okay, so having gotten that, the next thing we are going to start working on is the neck, which is also a bit different. Okay, so recall we used 3 inches for the width of the front neck. We are also going to use that same 3 inches for the width of the back, but for the depth of the back we are going to use 1 inch. You can decide to use 1.5 inch. It depends on what works for you, but just know that the front and the back do not have the same width. Okay, So when I was done doing that, I'm just going to connect this. Okay, so after I was done doing this, I'm going to input my shoulder measurement, which is my shoulder measurement divided by 2. Okay, whatever we have, we are going to put the measurement there, and then we're going to come down by 1 inch like we did for the front. Okay, so just like we did for the front, we are also going to connect this to the neck point. So having gotten this, just like we did for the front, we are going to come down by our armhole depth, and then we are going to take this measurement and repeat it here in order to get a straight line. Okay, remember that this place is our chest line. Okay, so another difference between the front and the back is that the front armhole depth is deeper than the back. Okay, so you're going to see how I'm going to connect these two dots. Okay, so I'm going to connect here to here. Instead of coming in by 0.5 inch, we're just going to connect it to the straight line. Okay, because the back armhole is not as deep as the front armhole. So this is what we have for the back armhole, and at this point we are almost done. We're just going to take our dart with our usual nipple to nipple measurement, and that brings us to the third difference between the front and the back pattern. Okay, note for the front, I did not take my nipple to nipple measurement to the chest line. I stopped at the bust line, but for this case we are taking it up to the chest line. Okay, so I'm just going to take my dart on the waist as usual, 0.5 inches in and out of the waistline, and then for this back part we are going to connect our dart all the way through to the chest line. Remember, for the front we stopped at the bust line, but for the back we're taking it all the way through to the chest line, and we're also going to come up from the length of our blouse by 2 inches, just like we did for the front, and then we are going to take our dart. Okay, so having achieved this, we're just going to input our normal body measurement. So when you have gotten all this, you're going to connect just like we did for the front. Okay, so guys, we have come to the end of this pattern drafting. Okay, note that when I was drafting this pattern, I did not put any allowance, both for the zip allowance and for the side allowance. So if you want to input your allowance, so then make sure you are putting your zip allowance and then your side allowance as well. Okay, so that is all for this pattern. Ensure you watch to the end, because I'll be using this pattern to do a whole lot of things in my channel. Okay, I'm not going to be teaching how to do this pattern again in my next tutorial, so ensure you watch this to the end so you can use this formula to create your own pattern each time we are working on anything we are going to be using the pattern for. Okay, so this is the back. We are going to go ahead and cut this out now. So guys, this is what it looked like when we are done drafting. This part, this is the back block and this is the front block. So if you have watched this level, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for always supporting. See you guys in the next one.